All right, everybody, it's me, your boy Flame King. I'm here with Zero and Echo. Zero is from No Bodies of Gaming, and Echo doesn't have a channel yet. But right now, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 16's ending. By now, you probably have seen my review. You probably know you're like, oh my god, like, yo, how did you feel about this ending? This is super spoilers. So if you don't want to hear nothing about the ending, you ain't finish it, stop what you're doing, go finish the game, come back and watch it so you can, decompress like I had to. Okay. But this discussion right now is just really just talking about exactly what, how we felt about it, how we felt when we got there, how we felt beforehand, and all that. I'm gonna just ask questions and go around. But hold on, 1 second, 1 second. I'm gonna pause the recording. I hope so. It did. It did pause. Back. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm gonna probably edit this part
All
out.
good.
Anyway, we're gonna go around and just kind of talk about that. If everyone wants to go ahead and introduce themselves, and then I'll start. I guess I'll go ahead and I'll start, and then I'll go around, see how everybody else feels.
All
So,
right.
if you'd like, Echo, go ahead.
Oh, introduction.
Yeah, I'll ask questions around and just ask everybody after.
All right. Well, hello. I'm Echo. I'm interested in all sorts of games, really. Mostly story games, but not very much into Call of Duty. That's kind of my. Yeah, I don't go there. I don't know what else to say. uh. Oh. Dan has muted himself.
I have, I have on purpose so
This
that you
is
can talk as much.
this. Yes,
I muted on
podcast,
purpose.
uh,
podcast life.
It's
we
only
we
muted.
call we call
And
that.
remember, only
That's called.
muted.
That's called.
It's only muted in
Yeah.
Discord, not on the recording, so they can hear me.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
don't worry.
I don't know what else to say. I haven't really planned this. Alex, how about you?
That's a good one.
Well, zero. Nobody's a gaming. I'm a bit of a gaming connoisseur. I've been doing this since I was a kid. I'm not professionally certified by any company or any person or any publication, but I like to think that I'm sort of a self-made professional in video games. Um, and as far as Final Fantasy 16 is concerned, I I was riding high, and then I just wasn't riding no more, and that's it. That's sort of the impression that I got with the ending. It ended. It functionally ended, and
Oh,
that's it.
oh, did it end?
After after taking great pains to develop this story across almost 100 hours, it just ends, and it while it resolves events that are happening to the characters, antagonists, protagonists, etc. It doesn't actually resolve emotionally or thematically what exactly all of this was about. And it does a cute thing towards the end where there's a book and it says Joshua Final Fantasy, like he wrote the book, and people are so happy that they think that what actually happened is just a myth. Cute, very cute, love it. Has nothing to do with what the experience that I had marching towards the end. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, the emotional ending happened. the moment they jumped off the balcony, or the is it a pier technically? I guess it's a pier. They jump off the pier and jump on the Bahamut's back and fly off to fight Ultima. That is the ending emotionally for this game, right? Because that's the part where it involves all the people telling each other how much they care, how scared they are, how we're coming back, we're gonna beat him. All that. That's the ending. That's the ending.
Yeah.
Then
Let's
the
save
game
some of that for the
finishes
full.
events.
Let's save some of that for the full explanation, so that way we don't get in.
This is just a recap. This is just what. This is just what
It's
happened.
just a
This isn't even my
recap.
opinion. This is just
Ah!
what happened. This is what happened. They jump off the pier. They onto Bahuma. They fly towards Ultima. There's a sky fight. There's another sky fight. There's a copycat Ifrit. There's fighting. You kill him. Game is over after he saves his brother and lands on the beach. That's essentially the broad strokes. There's not a lot left after you jump off the pier. There's not a lot left to really sink your teeth into. There's a lot of things you find out, but there's not a lot emotionally that resonates with what you were doing as a party or as a person on the way to destroying these crystals and fighting Ultra. There's just not a lot there. That's what happened. Just describing it because it's going to need to be put out there in order for an analysis to take place. This is what happened. Right? Am I wrong? Am I missing anything? What did I miss? Did I miss anything?
You are not missing anything, my friend. That was a great recap. I'm gonna go ahead further and say that. Well, I guess this is a good way to start. I'm gonna ask myself this question, and the question essentially is how I felt before the ending. So, this game does not play with you, like I said in my review, about essentially these side quests and these main missions. Yo, if you take your time to do these side quests, bro, you or gal or them, you're gonna be really hurt by this ending because you put so much time into the people around you and Clive, and it just kind of feels like to me before the ending happened, I just felt that dread. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, my boy, Echo's going to tell you, but my boy Echo couldn't even. He was marching there slow, and I was going to do the same thing, but Zero was over here like, nah, son, get that ending in now, now. So I went ahead and I did it. But
Oh, we got games to eat. We got games to eat. We don't got
you
time
had
to
to
sit
tell
here
me.
and play with our food. We got games to eat.
So we sat down and we,
Ugh.
yeah, we sat down and we went ahead and I marched forward and like you said, that whole scene. After I did everything, I sat there with my girl, like in the flower bed, like, oh my god, we're gonna leave, we're gonna have a nice thing. And my boy Clive's like, yeah, that sounds about right. I'm down with that. Yeah, like he's such a good boy. He's like the best boy. But he ended up being a fuck boy in the end because he left her with the bag. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was to save humanity, and I get that, but we gonna get into all that
All right.
later, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead. How did anybody
Yeah.
else feel about the beginning of the ending there?
Which beginning? Because it feels
Uh,
like this
I
game
mean, like when you
takes
started,
takes.
like when
are
you
you
were
if you're talking
marching,
about like
you were
yeah, if you're
marching,
talking about before
yeah.
the marching,
Like when you're like, the end is here. You know you're on the final mission. You got all these side quests. How did you feel? Like, did
oh,
you wanted to do the side quest? Did you want to jump in the ending? Were you excited to do all that, or were you like, yo, I'm scared of what might happen? Because they did a really good job with the writing. It made me feel so much dread because I just didn't know what was gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, I knew maybe I'd beat the bad boss, but I didn't know. We didn't get that kick, that reveal that always happens in a Final Fantasy game. We didn't think. I didn't think
yo,
that was gonna get that.
when Clive said goodbye to Jill, and he said he promised he'd come back. I'm like, he better fucking come back. He better fucking come back. Don't do that to Jill.
It, it,
Yeah.
it, it is a sad day to see such a ride or die female in Final Fantasy that that Okay, we should have known better, right? Because we've seen this play out in Final Fantasies before, where the woman the woman, whoever happens to be in whatever part you're playing, looks on as the male protagonist does something crazy and then doesn't come back. It's so it happens, and has happened often enough that you can just say, yeah, he ain't coming back. But here's my problem with it. Okay, we don't even know where he went. That's that. Where did he not? Okay, we know where he didn't go. He didn't come back to the hideaway. But where did he land after all is said and done? He's on the beach. Where? What shore? He's looking up at the sky. He's looking up at the moon. He can see it. But where is he? Where is Joshua? Okay? Where is he? Where did he land? What happened to that floating crystal ship, palace, whatever the hell it was? Where is he? Do you know this? No. No one knows where he landed. Okay? There's an entire
I'm
map.
assuming. I'm
Theoretically.
assuming the whole. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm just to say. I'm assuming the whole thing disintegrated because otherwise there'd be like a giant ass crater from the thing plummeting back to the Earth.
I don't even listen. That's a whole nother level of speculation that I'm not even willing to go into. What happened to the mass that was flying in the sky? The scientist in me doesn't even want to touch that because then this whole shit falls apart. So we're not going to talk about what happened to the ship. But at the very least, we can talk about smaller things. Joshua, Clive, where did you land? Why did you not land together? If Joshua is not even conscious, why are you not with your brother? I don't know. I don't know the answers to these questions. What happened to Clive could be an entire second game if you really wanted it to. Right? Like, you could just make Jill delusional and be like, I don't believe he's dead. He's still alive. He's got to be. And she's just on an adventure to go
Final
find him.
Fantasy X
A la Final Fantasy 10 2. You could do the same thing and you can make an entire game out of it.
I'm
And
pulling up a map here. Hold on one second. I need to see a map here because
It
we
is
have
I have
we
an
have a
idea.
territorial map
I have an idea.
that
Let me bring.
you can actually
Go
traverse the
ahead.
map in Final Fantasy. Like, it's not a representative map; it's an actual map where you're standing there, and it's kind of as close to one for one as it's going to be, right? So wherever the ship was, if he wasn't blown in any lateral direction and he just falls straight down, let's go with the it just disintegrated, right? He's got to have landed somewhere right around where it was floating.
I mean, he clearly landed
Where
in
is
the water
Joshua?
and it washed up. I mean, that's clearly it, right? Because he was in the water. He was on the beach. He
Right.
was,
Well
left
then,
stranded.
but then where's
Yeah,
Joshua?
That's what I'm saying. So, like,
Joshua was Joshua was feet away from him when it went down, and then he's like by himself, stranded somewhere.
now the
I
currents could
don't
have
know what
taken him
happened.
somewhere else. That's like, all right. I'm
It couldn't have
fuzzy.
been that far. And
I'm
if
just.
Joshua's
Hold on.
awake and doesn't drown from being unconscious, right, and he survives somehow, he must be looking for Clive, right? Right? Right?
I think
No,
so. I think
I don't.
so.
I
You would imagine so, but
I just.
where is this? Where represented in the ending? Where is this? Where is the what happened after he did the thing, right? But they're just not really into details, and they're more into feels, right?
To
This
be
ending
true,
is
like,
the feelings, right? Like feels, right? Like, oh, it's so tragic. He never made it home, and he goes, "Hey, Jill, I hope you can see it too." Like, not. I'm sorry that I made a bold faced promise, and I'm not gonna fulfill it. It's not. They're obviously going for
ambiguous
this
ending.
indie film, like this indie film feel of the abstract feeling of just everything is over. I'm dying. It's whatever. and then the lady and the two kids, and then the book. It's all symbolic. It's meant to make you feel. It's not meant to
I
explain
think
anything because the explanation is not more important than the feelings.
I think what
I
pisses
don't
me
know who
off
told
the
him that.
most is like, they did that and then they show us these boys like as if, like say like, oh, now they get to live their only life like reincarnate, because they believe in reincarnation, like, oh, they got to live a life free of magic in a different life, like a different like lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like these boys are essentially them, like in the future having a normal life growing up. But for me, like, all right, I always talk about Final Fantasy X, cause and 9 or 8, I mean 9 or 7, or I don't talk about 8 because eight's ending was fucking just as stupid. Um, and when it comes down to like ambiguousness in Final Fantasy X, right? They go ahead and I'm gonna tell you two examples. You got 9 and you got 10, right? And in 10, you have this ambiguous ending where what wasn't really that ambiguous. We knew what was gonna happen, right? And we knew a long time before everything happened. Like Titus found out, like, yo, son. And I say Titus, not Titus, because I'm American, and when you spell words a certain way,
Ha!
they sound like the way they work. So if you wanted them to say Titus,
Well,
you
plus
should
there
have
was a there
wrote
was a there was a guy who had a TV show on
TEDUS.
Fox who had the same spelling,
Yeah.
and they used Titus. So
The English
that's what we're
spelling,
going with.
yeah, the English spelling of the fucking word is
I
Titus.
have never heard anybody refer to him as Titus.
Yo, you just not have not been on the internet enough, because there's a lot of these elite motherfuckers that are like, yo, bro, it was Titus, bro. They said it in Kingdom Hearts, so that's what it is. And the fucking like Japanese people said it's Titus. Translating, and your
Oh
local
God.
localization team did you real dirt, because they should have put TEDUS, and that would have been enough for people to call him Titus, and there wouldn't have been no thing. Remember, no one called them whatever you want back
Uh
then. That's
oh,
how it
you,
was.
you cut out a little bit there.
Oh, I said no one named him by his, by his name in the game, because
Yeah,
it was like the era where you could just name your character whatever, which was cool. But
yeah.
canonically, his name is, Titus. So if you wanted him to be Titus, you should
Yeah,
have had him say Titus.
it,
I
it's
think this is
it's
the
it's a
first game where
grand
they told
old
you.
tradition to be able to just change the name of your protagonist, but also for no one to acknowledge that it's actually an avatar of your own creation. Like, um, it's it's clearly Cloud, it's clearly Titus, it's clearly protagonist Kun, but it's your protagonist Kun, but it was just symbolic. It never meant anything. I guess it just filled in text in conversation and dialogue and stuff like that. I just left it the same. I just there was no for me. It was never any point in changing the name from whatever I found there because it's clearly not the type of game that lets you express that kind of Mass Effect esque personalization. So I never named it. I
I
just
mean,
left it
when
the
I
same.
got when
Every
I got a
Final Fantasy
game
I just
like
left it the same.
Yeah, when I got a game like that, I think the only one was like Madden, or like one of these like sport games where they had like these pre like said names. So like if you had a name that was pre-said in the record, if you spelled it just like how they said it, they would actually say your name. Madden was the only one that did that. Look at them innovators in the back in the time. Now they're shit. They literally just you copy and paste the game and say, pay me $70.
I mean, yeah, old Madden. Like, not how, well, I don't play sports games, but I know, like, I watch Angry Joe, so I know he's very fond of old Madden, and, yeah, he's
I
not,
can testify that Madden as of 2015 has been has been a pair of human butt cheeks since 2015, and it's because of the system that they adopted with the yearly release schedule. But before that, they actually did try, and it actually resulted in a pretty decent football game. More than a few times I've stopped at a retail store to play like those demos and stuff like that for Madden every year. Even though I never bought Madden regularly, I would always stop, try it, and I would be like, "Ooh, hey, look, they did this and they did that, and it looks pretty good." And I remember they used to try, but they stopped trying around 2015. It
Yeah,
just said, "Why? People are just going to pay."
yeah.
They heard they saw Todd Howard out here, and they said, "Yeah, that's the plan. Just they're going to pay.
I don't even
Just
know,
give them the
man.
same thing."
I don't even know, man. I think they was already on their way. They'd be trapped. They just made that final decision. Then you right. So like, yo, we talking about this ending, and during it, like I said, like now I guess I'll flip to the next question, which is the big scene, and I guess we're doing that now. The big scene. Let's talk about the big scene. So I'll talk about the scene right before it and my feelings about it. Right. So like, yo, after doing all this shit for everybody and getting close to all my crew, like everybody, right? There's this scene where everyone's there and like that's the game. You know how normally it's like, everybody's like there with you going through the bullshit, but it's just you, really just you. Like they were dead ass about this whole, yeah, it's gonna just be you kind of shit. Like, yo, Clive is the guy. Like that's it. Nobody else, fuck these party members. You all that shit is all outside content that you're doing. And it only makes more context to the ending for what it is, you know what I'm saying? But like what I was saying in 10 was that, they made sure that when he went in that when Yuna fucking tried to hug him because she thought it was bullshit and she went through him, I lost it. I started crying because I'm like, fuck,
Right.
fuck.
That right there is how you is and I guess this is the point of this particular episode. You're not supposed to do one emotional without the practical, right? That's when practical and emotional consequences and endings meet, right? So we in one scene we see the culmination of the entire game and where we've ended as a resolution. That is the resolution. That scene is the resolution. Everything else is just, sprinkling on top, right? She goes through him, and everything that's happened up until this point, you understand. And that's why I think it stands as the greatest Final Fantasy ending that they've ever put out. Because it builds up all the stuff that you've done throughout the game, all the emotions, all the crew, Orin, Titus's dad, Titus, Yuna, all that building up towards sin and dealing with that and making sure that Yuna's not the one to sacrifice herself to continue the cycle. This is the payoff. This is what an ending is supposed to be, both emotional and practical. And in one scene, you are told and you feel what happened. One fell swoop. That's an ending. That's how you do an ending. Now, as compared to other endings, this is the greatest ending ever. That's subjective. But what I'm saying is that it effectively accomplishes what we needed 16 to do here after building up those kind of the same way that 10 did. Actually, there's a lot of going back to 10 in this game as far as the way it like to
Hmm.
to invoke that feeling from the audience. There's a lot of 10. There's a lot of 10 with Sid and a lot of the memorable characters, memorable villains. There's a lot of 10 here. There's a lot of people whose faces you will remember for a long time.
Yeah, and the
But
thing
it just
is,
doesn't do what 10 did.
yeah,
Well,
and the thing is, I just wanted to finish the point. Like, and that game did the same thing. We didn't see how everybody kind of ended up at the end till 10-2, right? And that was fine. Like, that was kind of ambiguous. We didn't know how everybody was going to get on without him, like, how everybody was going to be.
No, but they were
But,
there. You didn't. I don't think
exactly.
you needed to see that because they were present.
Yep.
They were present at the end, right? What you didn't see in 16 is how people felt about what happened because they were there. You didn't need to know. You didn't need any more than that because effectively, emotionally and practically, it cleaned up everything. But 16 did not pay off its pre-ending emotional buildup. It just didn't. It just let it go. And what happened happened. Again, did Joshua and his unconscious self land on his head? Did he fall in the ocean and drown? Who knows? I don't know because they didn't bother to practically show us what happened, right? But with Yuna, with Titus, she hugs him, he's not there, and then your heart breaks. That's when the two meet. and you have an ending, and then you have to say goodbye, and that's the game. To roll the credits.
But
Beautiful.
then, let's talk about it. So you know how you had the extra scene in this game,
But
right? Then in the end of 10, you see my man Titus come out the water. So that you know, yo, he got his body back, or maybe not, or maybe they were starting the story. But the whole thing
yeah,
is
there's
that, you know, they went ahead. I got you. I'm gonna let you go in a minute, Echo. I just want to finish it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, what happens is that they dead ass left you there on this shit. And then Clive is like, "Yo, bro, fuck, man. I guess that's it for me." And you don't really see him dying for real. You don't get the whole solid, earth, stone. You don't get to see none of that shit. It's just straight up like, "Yo, where's Joshua? Why would he heal Joshua for him not to live?" Then you see the book with Joshua's name on it, and it's like, "Yo, hold on. So who's
You,
here? Who's there? Who's that?"
but,
And you're just
but,
wondering,
but
like, what
how
the
do we
fuck?
know? But here's an interesting tidbit. How do we know that the book is the events of the game, and this is another universe where those events are just a fantasy? How do we not know
You
that?
you you don't.
Yeah,
It's left
that's
up to
Because
interpretation,
you don't practically tell us what happened. You can speculate
and that's
anything. There's
fine.
so many holes.
that is okay.
There's so many
That's
holes there.
fine.
We're gonna
It's
let Echo
fine.
go. I'm
It,
gonna let you go, Echo, when you're done. Go ahead.
oh, me.
yeah, go ahead.
Yep,
What do
go
you
ahead.
think?
Go.
I was gonna say it's fine. You can leave a game. You can leave a story up to what the reader or the viewer in it's leave it up to them to come up with their own theories, their own uh you know oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Just leave it up to them
Mythos.
to interpret what happens, or they come
Use
up,
the word.
like I
Use the
said,
word. Their own mythos.
their own ethos. Yeah, but also I was gonna say earlier, like, you guys have obviously played. I know Dan's played a lot of the Final Fantasies, but like from my background, the only Final Fantasies I've played is 14 and 16, which are being made by the same crews, right? So I know their writing, and I know they went the whole look at Game of Thrones route to kind of work their story, kind of get inspiration for it. But from my 14 background, the way they write there, it's like when they kill a character, they make sure the character is dead, right? So from my standpoint, we didn't see. And when Clive's washed up on the beach, yeah, his hands turns to stone, but you don't see the rest of him turn to stone. And also, more importantly, you don't see that final breath, kind of his chest collapse, and then just stops moving altogether.
And I
You
want
don't
to
see
make it
that.
very clear that they did that for Kupka and they did that for Benedicta. And they also did that
Yeah, you
for
see, you see them like,
Barnabas.
yeah, yeah. Like, did
I ain't see
Barnabas,
no
like,
body.
straight up, like, yeah, just Barnabas straight up disintegrates, right? And it's like, and spoiler warning. I don't know how you want to handle spoilers
I
for
already did
14
that.
if people want it.
Listen.
Okay.
All right, we'll be cool. Listen, spoilers for all games that are Final Fantasy endings. If you're here and you
I
heard
mean,
me about that, I already spoiled 10.
you're,
I mean, that's what it
yeah,
is. Now,
yeah, yeah.
I did say earlier, spoilers, okay?
He
So,
was
I
a
mean,
dream the whole time.
yo,
What?
all right.
Oh, oh.
If I gotta come in later, I gotta
That's
come in and edit early later. So if I'll edit this out if I
yeah.
edit myself saying with a big ass like, I'll put in the video like a big old card saying yo spoilers, and then you'll hear me say spoilers again. So I'll like put like a card or a subtitle on there for all Final Fantasy games that are relevant, because the point is that we're going to be like dead ass referring to those games to explain why I'm a little tired of the shit. Like Final Fantasy 15 also like 15, my boy, just to add to what Echo is saying here. In 15, when fucking Noctis died, you knew he died. There was no fucking, there was no, oh man, did he die? Did he not die? I don't know. I don't know. You know he
Yeah,
died. You know what I mean? You know it. So like for
yeah.
me,
Well,
it's just going because I also play 14 and all the way through to the most
yeah,
latest expansion. Echo
yeah,
was
yeah.
obviously a very big help in getting me through that game. I put my head down and just kind of rushed like a running back through that game. Not rushed, but I enjoyed it. But Realm Reborn was rough, and the whole point is that these endings, these writers, they know what they're doing. But I do believe, that even though they did that, they wanted to keep it ambiguous. I think it destroyed the ending a little bit, not to see the hideaway thriving and like the curse breakers like being like a militant force or seeing the things that you did as a side quest kind of showing up at the end. Like I would have took 10 minutes to just literally show like his uncle and all his like his friends and shit just doing things like Final Fantasy 9 spoilers of course. At the end, yo, Vivi dies, but it's been told all throughout the game that Vivi was gonna fucking die, right? Like that was the whole thing. You had to grip with death. They wanted you to know that everybody dies, right? So when at the end comes, and nobody knows what happens to Zidane, he just disappears. Like no one knows. At the end, they paid everything off because they wanted you to know. You don't know where these characters are going to be completely, but they wanted you to know that these are the themes that ended, and it ended in a kind of a circular way, so everybody kind of came back to it. But they wanted you to know, particularly, that these characters had these things, and it just makes you feel without Zidane because you don't find out Zidane's alive till at the end of that epilogue, right? But they wanted you to know that the characters you did work on, all your work actually meant something. And yes, I guess, there's no magic and there's people using fire and nobody can use magic anymore and everything's kind of a fantasy kind of. And I guess that's what they're trying to say, that everything kind of worked out, but you don't know what
Well,
happened to your crew. It's kind of trash.
yeah, yeah. But
How do we
like I was
know
gonna
that?
like.
How do we know that that world is that world? How do we know
Well,
that
at
there's a
the
continuity between the world that they
you
were
you
in,
you
that they
don't
fought for, and this? You just don't. And
you
I feel, given the level of detail and the level of care that they took into building the lore up until that point, for that to me, if I had to describe it, you know that meme of the flaming horse where the horse is like on fire, right? At the beginning and it looks beautiful, super 4K resolution, and then you're getting towards the end and now it's just scribbles. That's to me what happened here. Right? It's a horse and you know it's a horse, but the last frame is just scribbles. It's just pencil art, right? It's unfinished.
well.
I don't think it's finished because of the way they built what came before and up until that point and how very different it all looks and feels. Right? That's where
Well,
I'm getting my point of reference from.
yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's your interpretation. Was what you just played all a storybook, or was it? I mean, the children and the mother, because obviously, like, if this was like point A to point B, like this, the ending scene you see is like way in the future, and this all happened in the past. Of course, after over time, people would just come to think of the past as just a fantasy, right? So, but what we know is at the end, Clive, Omega and all his people are the ones that introduced magic or into the world, right? And at the end, Clive's like, you know, things that, shit's been getting fucked up because you guys, did all this, right? So I'm just gonna remove magic because we've already figured out how to live without it, right? So I'm just gonna remove magic so the blight stops being a problem, right? Because that was
Right.
the whole point, right? So here we have Clive removing the magic, and then at the ending scene, we see a world without magic because a little boy has to start a fire with flint and steel, right? So was it all a made up story, or was it the past that was happened so long ago that people just think it's fantasy?
Well, the
And
book
that's
analogy makes it
that's
worse. Here's why the book analogy makes it worse, right? Because if you were to write this ending in that book, right, and you still don't tell us what happened after he got rid of magic to either Clive, Joshua, or the Hideaway, or even the world at large, if you don't tell us anything about it, it's still a sucky ending. So even inside of that analogy, it's still a shitty ending because it doesn't tell you either emotionally or practically. It doesn't resolve the major conflicts of its story. And the way it was written, the way it was playing up until this point was very concise, very detailed. It did not fail to tell you in practical terms. These are the things that are happening all around. I can forget the names of these places now.
Valistea.
Just
Valistea. Valistea. That's right.
Valistea, right? You have entire sections of the game dedicated to explaining the minute details of all the things that are happening, the politics, the people involved, the conflicts involved, the people who are upset, the people who are oppressed. It goes to great pains to be a lore dump, only to take the ending and mystify it to degrees that are incomprehensible for what they've been doing up until this point. I'm not saying that mystifying ending doesn't make it cooler because there's plenty of instances where it's freaking awesome, and I'll give you one. The best vague and ambiguous ending that I know of in my mind is Christopher Nolan's Inception. Leonardo DiCaprio's character doesn't know if he's in real life or
Spoilers
in
for
a
Inception.
simulation or in a
Spoilers.
dream, right?
oh
He
yeah,
spins the
that ending
top.
scene. Yeah.
He spins the top, and then it goes to black. That is beautiful,
Yeah,
right?
that shit moved.
Because
That shit moved.
they resolved the major conflict. He wanted to be with his family, right? And in practical terms, just like the girlfriend, if you think back into the movie, just like the girlfriend who spent all that time in deep down, he had to go and get her. 50 years in her mind versus him just getting there. She was happy. She didn't want to wake up, right? That's the thing. In practical terms, she is fine. She no longer has a conflict, right? So the same thing mirrors what happens to him. Am I fine or not fine, right? So then his curiosity gets the better of him. He spins the top, right? And then you leave it to the audience to wonder if it's real or if it's not, right? But the truth of the matter is that mystery is not more important than the fact that the character was resolved. The events were resolved. It wasn't in the middle of, hey, what happened to him? Where did he end up? There are no questions of those kinds. There's just questions of the emotional payoff and the practical sense of what's happening around it. But what they were going for, the practical ending of his arc, ended. It ended, and that spinning of the top was just a little icing on the cake. It's just to sweeten the deal to make you wonder: did he end up really in America, really with his kids, or is he just dreaming it and he is just content but never made it to his kids? Right? These, from his perspective, is insignificant. Right? It's just curiosity. That's why he spins the top. He doesn't. He isn't unhappy. He isn't unresolved. He just would like to know. And then they just left it ambiguous. But later, it was revealed that Christopher Nolan, being as prodigious as he is, he actually left significant clues in every scene that distinguish the difference between reality and the dream, so that editors know, he knows, scriptwriters know, but the audience has to catch it. So the thing is here with Final Fantasy 16, they did not do that. They did not set up this mystical ending. They did not set up ambiguity. They just gave it to you out of nowhere. It is the one part of the game that differs, just like in the horse meme. It differs from the rest of the picture. It doesn't match what we've been doing up until this point. Final Fantasy X. It's unfortunate you haven't played it, Echo, because it is one of those games. Okay, it is legendary. It is still one of the most popular Final Fantasies of all time, if not the most popular
That
outright.
that game dead
And
ass
that's
spiraled
the,
me
that's the
into
reason
playing
why.
these. Yeah, that game literally spiraled me into Final Fantasy. Before Final Fantasy X, I didn't play any RPGs that took turn-based RPGs at all except Pokemon. That was it. And Pokemon, I would say, is the game that kind of said, man, I guess I take turns with Pokemon. Maybe I could play this. And I remember seeing the opening scene, going, this shit is fucking crazy. And I went all the way through, and I remember hearing that battle music, like dun 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 dun. Dun. That shit got me hype as fuck. That game got me into it, man. And then the fucking deep ass fucking like level system, bro. Holy shit! It's a really good game, and it's on every fucking platform. Just when you get a chance, you ain't got shit going on, you fucking bored. Go jump
Nah,
into this shit.
watch it on YouTube.
Watch
Watch
it,
it on
yeah. You
YouTube.
can
You
watch it.
you you have somebody who did a cut, who I'm sure did a cut of the events that happened in Final Fantasy X. You'll see there's a consistency along the events and how they're presented, and the mystery in of itself is already built deep into the story. The mystery of what is happening, why it is they keep sacrificing priestesses, how the cycle keeps repeating, how it keeps creating all this nonsense, and then Titus and all of it is baked in to be a mystery, right? But Final Fantasy 16 is not meant to be a mystery. It's meant to be a political thriller. It's meant to be a straight up world saving, world ending, trying to prevent the end of the world situation. And there's no ambiguity about any of the stuff that's happening except the Ultima's motivations and methodology. That's it. But there's nothing else that's a mystery. Uh, there's no weird thing happening except maybe, I guess, whether he thought he was Ifrit, but that really wasn't a mystery because we all knew he was Ifrit. Like,
By the
we
way,
knew it
that
was
shit
him.
was hilarious because me and me and
He's like the
Zero
only.
played a demo. I mean, like, yo, does he not know that it was him? How the fuck does he not know? I mean, that's
I,
literally. How do you are you
he was
astral projecting yourself? Like, is this really what happens when you turn into an icon? You don't realize you're in the icon. You're just watching what happens. And I get that they're trying to go like, oh yeah, he was just that traumatized. I'm like, my man, I'm sorry. Like, I get that, but that doesn't happen anywhere else in the game, like ever. Like, no one else
he
does that.
not only not only that, he goes almost 7 years. I think it's 7 years. I can't remember, between the events of Phoenix Gate and when the game starts. It goes that many years, never in any emotional state to just, he's been in dangerous situations, he's fighting people, and never once did he become emotionally unhinged enough to become Ifrit throughout the entire time. He was he was going through the worst time of his life, and he never felt at all any desire to pull from himself this invisible thing that clearly has been there the entire time, and it never happens, right? He never pops E3 in 7 years of
Well,
nonstop combat as a member of the army for the Imperial. Never.
I'll be
Okay, they
honest with
used
that.
him as a dog of war. Never happened.
I think that during that, because Clive is so like grounded and solid as a human being, I think that the reason why he never had that happen is because none of the inciting incidents happened to him yet. Like, remember, all the inciting incidents started to make Clive do like things that were out of his character to make him have responses like that. Like before that, he was just kind of going along with it, just kind of like but no, he never got to see the other icon of fire, so to speak. You know what I mean? He never had any of the things that would have triggered him to turn into Ifrit, right? But clearly, the game also explains that him triggering Ifrit is not just him being mad, because how many times did he try to like emotionally respond to his way to make Ifrit come out, and it never happened. You know, even after he found out he was the icon of fire. So, in that aspect, I think that they were still consistent with that because they clearly, even after learning that he was Ifrit, he still couldn't even try to invoke him. Even he still couldn't. So it's still consistent, in my opinion, that taking Ifrit out is not just some accidental thing. Even though his brother did, you know, I don't think anything hit him to that core. At that point, he was at the lowest of his life. He fucking hated himself. Let's be real here. And for the most part, it was because of he couldn't get his brother back. You know, the truth is that this game is really about how much he loved his little brother and how responsible he felt as a shield of Rosaria to not have protected his brother. And that's why it gets a payoff at the end when he just has a whole flashback about his brother. Which, by the way, is cool and shit. But, you know, you got a girl and shit. You didn't even think about your girl. You didn't even flashback about your girl. That shit was wild. It was almost like, Clive, did you really give a fuck about her? I mean, you guys were killing me all game with these like bum
Clearly,
ass. I'm not
he
gonna
clearly.
fuck. Is he gonna kiss? Is he gonna fuck? Like, what's going on? Like, are they gonna kiss? Like, when the hell are they gonna kiss? Like, I was getting all that anxious Japanese like rom com fucking anxiety. You know what I mean? And they really dragged it the fuck out. Even when they did end up sleeping together and kissing, yo, they G'd the shit out of me and he took her fucking powers. I'm sitting there like these fucking people, if they don't make them kiss, I'm gonna lose my mind. They're literally sleeping in the same bed and nothing is happening to them. What is this? Yo, it was crazy.
It's it's
I'm
the
not gonna get
it's
into
the
it. I'm not gonna get
it's the
into it.
perfect Japanese relationship. Then that's what perfection looks like. Okay, yeah, we know we don't speak of it, we barely do it, but we know it in our hearts, but we don't say it, and we look at each other longingly, but we don't actually like bathe in it. Like you Americans do. Like
And
we
shout
just
out, just to prove you,
it's just
just to go with your point, just to go with your point, Zero. When they do, and I'm gonna talk about this scene because that's what this was about, the pre-scene. Yo, listen. When they are doing all these goodbyes, everybody's saying bye. Oh, this should have been at the end of the game, by the way. You know, he should have came back and then everybody hugged and everybody got together. I'd have felt better with that. And then did the Titus and then just kind of like disintegrated or fell out
turn into
or
dust.
whatever.
Yes,
Even if he didn't turn into dust, his arm turned gray and it just faded to black. Whatever.
e- e-
Whatever
e-
they do.
even even in ambiguous, they found him and he's dying scene. Like they were looking for
Yeah.
him. They saw the
Yeah.
explosion. They're looking for him. They find him on the beach. That even that would have been preferable because that at least in practical terms, in emotional terms, just like with 10, it resolves everything.
Yeah. And I mean,
Okay, it resolves everything. But that those shots of him alone when he clearly has another person that is unconscious that needs to survive this that he bothered to bring back to life, it just
even if he
doesn't
passed
make
out
a
with
lot of
his brother
sense for
right
him to be at
next
the
to him,
beach.
I'd have been better. But like in that scene,
Yeah, but
they
no,
the
where
I
is
want
he?
to shout out to the music guy because yo, he's an asshole. I love you to death for how good you are, but my guy, using the fanfare and using the melody in such a way to troll peoples, bro. And let's be real, that's what you were doing, bro. Okay, that's not mince words. I saw what you did with Barnabas. Clive bested. Really? Not every time you win a battle, by the way. Not every time you win. Okay? Only during the times he was trolling you and or when it was so even monumentous battles you win, you wouldn't get the da 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 da, right? So then like he goes for the kiss, right? And they kiss in front of everybody. Like they just got married, right? And like this is a goodbye kiss. It's supposed to be sad and just hear the and you're like, yo, these guys in the music place, they're asses, bro. They really are douchebags. Like, yo, how are you doing this? And that made the ending for me, it crushed me. Because Jill was such an object in this game. She was a very full character, but she was an object. Like in every fucking in every fucking
They
mini
meant for
game,
her to be
you
that.
know.
That's
Yeah,
that
like
was that
she
was
was
by
sap.
design. Even
Sap.
her being taken in by Rosaria was as an object politically. It is the theme of her life. She
It's
was taken
tragic
into
because she's supposed to
slavery as
break
an
free
object. She
from
was
that.
used. She did.
Did
She
she?
started making her own choices. She ran with them.
Did
Yeah,
she?
absolutely.
She got used
She
as an
she
object
became
narratively.
a very yeah. I think she elevated herself past those moments, and when she killed the dude, she came full circle, and she took control of her destiny. Remember, she killed the priest.
No, narratively for her arc, yes. But for the whole, for the full story, she was used as a narrative piece, and like yo, the two kidnappings in one story, wild. Two. Not only that, she was like, if you did all the side quests, yo, it's so tragic. Yo, you just brought her out there to talk about, yo, let's move away and just get away, man. She ride or die. She there for him, and it's like, damn, son. She here alone. My man said it. I'm sorry. My boy. What's his name? The spy. What's his name? Uh, the one that got that literally took ownership of the woman who was pregnant. Type weird.
Oh,
Gav. My boy
Gav,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gav.
yeah, yeah.
My boy Gav was out here happy as fuck, and he's like, "Oh, I guess he's not coming back." And that's the last time my boy Torgal just was yo, yo. Just for context, if you didn't do these side quests, you're a clown. Okay, I said it in my review. I'm saying it now. If you didn't do the side quests and you keep saying they were trash, you're a clown. Okay, because Torgal has a side quest where he brings you to the hut where he was at, and he was literally collecting shit for Clive because he missed him so much. And Clive's like, "Yo, I ain't going nowhere," and he lied to everybody. My man said, "Yo, I'ma sack
He
myself."
didn't lie. He failed to follow through,
I don't know, son.
but also I just don't think that I can hold it against the character when this ending is the way it is, because it's just whatever the fuck this ending is. It just doesn't at all match the stuff that we're talking about. That stuff with the story and the crew and all that. What happened after he left? He jumped off that pier. Is that's where that story ends, and whatever the hell happened after begins, because it's got nothing to do with them anymore. And I just don't think that they understand how disconnected the events after they get on Bahamut are from the rest of the game. They are. It just to me doesn't match what they've been building up until that point, and it just turns into something else. And I guess they wanted to have an ending that looked a certain way, but it just misses the mark. I mean, in a lot of ways, and it just is meh. It took a game that was amazing narratively, its biggest strength, and then it just turns it into a big pile of this happened. Roll credits.
Yeah, yeah.
I I still don't know. I don't know how anyone feels emotionally. I saw Clive. I know how he feels emotionally. I don't know what happened to Joshua. I don't know what happened to the rest of Valistea. I don't know anything. Anything. It's not even one of those personal experiences where he like goes through like some sort of personal ruin and it's all psychedelic. It's none of that either. So it's not even anything like that. It fails to finish what it started. It's an ending that just stops, does not ends. If that analogy makes sense, that's what I think happened here. It stops, but it doesn't end. And I think there was just an announcement. Uh, I think I think that they're gonna do something DLC. I see
They're doing
who
a
was
lot
it
of
Yeah,
that
extra
announced that?
shit.
Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi P came out and said a bunch of stuff was
Yeah,
gonna be
Yoshi
added.
P. Yeah, he basically he went on record and said that if people want DLC, they'll make DLC. and they said they're working on it.
Well, then
That
I
was the
hope that
announcement.
the first thing they do is finish the ending and tell us where the hell everyone landed.
Whoa,
Because it doesn't
whoa,
make any sense to have a game build up to what it did and then not finish what it started.
whoa, whoa. You
Finish
got you
what
got you got
happened.
writers out here saying they shouldn't do that. Yo, bro, we shouldn't do that, man. You gotta keep it ambiguous, man. It's gonna ruin the game if you come out here and
Ruin
explain.
what? What
Like,
is it
don't do
ruining?
that.
There's nothing to ruin because
Don't do
there's
that.
nothing here to examine.
It'll ruin
There's
it.
nothing to examine here.
Oh
The
my
game might
god.
as well just have ended when the light flashed after he got rid of magic. That should have been the ending of the game because everything that comes after that doesn't tell you anything. It's mishmash. It's fake deep. It doesn't tell you anything.
I
It
mean, it
doesn't tell you
tells you
anything
that the
emotionally,
world was
thematically, or
saved. I
otherwise.
mean, it tells you that his sacrifice happened and all that. I'll be fair here. It told you that his
and
sacrifice happened.
and everyone lived happily ever after. There's a reason why no one does that anymore because it's horrible. It's a horrible way to end a story.
Well, not
It's
everybody did
just
live
so
happily ever after. Just these fucking people who are random, who we don't know. They're not related
I
to any fucking of the 100 hours I spent playing this fucking game. They're not related at all. They're just these fucking randos. I mean, not even like I'd have been better off if these were like Clive and fucking Clive and Jill's children or Joshua's children or something like just not having anyone or a relative of anybody, not name dropping, say, yeah, my grandpa, man, he was fucking always telling this story. He said he wrote this book, blah, 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 blah. Just no name ass people, the woman, everything. There's so many ways you could have still established the same fucking thing while giving me my fucking closure from my boy. You don't make me spend 120 hours or 60 hours if you're fast, okay, on a fucking character who went through so much growth and so much pain and so much torment, and you just fucking leave me here, like, with my dick in my hand. Like, okay, bro. You know, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Well, you said you
it's
could do
what
it.
happens when you try to be deep and you fail to accomplish what you're
Like,
supposed to do, which is to resolve what you're doing.
I wanna.
What is the resolution here? What is the theme that you're trying to end the story on? And all I saw was a guy turn to dust after doing what he already intended to do, but it doesn't at all. That choice that he made doesn't at all get reflected in a way that practically tells you this is what happened to the people closest to him because of it,
Yeah.
right? The cost. What was the cost, right? You saw the
Well,
pain in Yuna's face as she tried to hug him and couldn't. You
yeah.
saw the cost on her face. Practical, emotional. This is the cost. And
Hmm.
it's missing. It's missing. We
Yeah.
can assume, we can be ambiguous about what it is that happened in that sense, right? Like, leave it up for interpretation, but we cannot leave things that were never up for interpretation up for interpretation. At the end, you will make people very unhappy with their dicks in their hands,
Yep.
right?
And
No
and let me
payoff,
and
no
let me
money
just
shot.
go ahead and just say like Final
Well,
Fantasy VII had an ambiguous ending, and I see like guys always and listen, Echo, I got you. Right after this, just go ahead. Hold that thought. You can go ahead after this, okay?
yeah,
And at Final Fantasy VII, at the end of that game, okay, yo, listen, my boy murks Sephiroth with Omni Slash, and then it just goes to black, and no one knows what happens, because having children wasn't made, and it was ambiguous as to what happened with the party, but it doesn't matter because the game was about Cloud's identity crisis and him having to deal with this fucking asshole manipulating his identity. So when you get to the end and you got Omni Slash and you slash this motherfucker up like a 200 times, you feel closure even though you don't know what happens to them because, bro, you did it. You fucking did it. You are you. You're Cloud Strife. That closure is what we need to hear. Now, some people would say, well, look at my boy Clive. He's the shield of Rosaria, boy. He did the whole thing. Look at him. He told Ultima he's trash. Ultima was like, yo, you guys are pussy. Da, 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 da. And then he said, you a fake god. You trash. I'm a real god. You know what I mean? And that right there, that whole stuff, those themes were paid off, but the the price the price of that payment is never closed upon. The epilogue falls flat for me. And I don't give a fuck what writers come out and say, it's ambiguous, man, it's just beautiful. I don't give a fuck about that. I think that ambiguousness hurts the ending of the game, especially when you just killed off one of your characters in your last entry. Come on, man. Go ahead, Echo. I'm sorry for ranting. We're all done. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the writer for this game, or the head writer, if I'm not mistaken, is the one that was responsible for writing Heaven's Word in 14. And Heaven's Word was a really good story. So, speaking of the writer's talent, yes, he could have ended it differently. So, which leads me to believe this was a decision on their part to end it the way they did. It's not because they lack the skills and the means to write a story, write this closure. This was a decision to end it this way. Totally, because they have the skills to write an amazing story. So.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't bad writing. I want to make this very clear. Me and Zero haven't talked about this, but this is not bad writing. I want to make it very clear that this writing in this game is not bad writing. We're real upset about it. We want to appreciate and we want to go ahead and talk about the fucking level of writing from 13 to now, okay? This writing, you guys hiding on 14, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Square Enix, for hiding all your good writers on fucking 14. You're
Yeah.
assholes for that because I played through 14 from Realm Reborn all the way to Endwalker. And you guys have been hiding the good shit for your paid subscribers and not in your actual games, dude. And yo, son, I'ma say this is controversial, but Nomura, bro, yo, he's not, he can't be doing these games all the time, okay? You gotta let him make a game that's edgy, and that's where he belongs. After that, yo, he single-handedly destroyed 15 because of him not finishing it. You know what I mean? And then I guess that might be a Square Enix decision where they had him on Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15. But the point is that Nomura he's even fucking around right now with Final Fantasy 7 remake, and yo, he's in danger, bro. You got to be careful with that. And my whole
Yeah.
thing is the writers from Heaven's Word. This writer here, and I'm about to name drop him because my one of my people I watch, Jim Stephanie Serling. She said we needed to be better about crediting the writers. And I just want to say that you can tell in this game that his writing was peak. There are people out there in this game that are saying, and I believe I said this in my review. There are not a lot of black people in this game, like full black people, like not Indian or Middle Eastern, because the truth is, this game talk about slavery a lot, and they would have got a lot of blowback for talking about like slavery and having black slaves even a little bit. So I think that was kind of
Oh
safe to
yeah.
make it like ambiguous and kind of keep the focus on essentially the the actual game and the bearers and the what they call the
It-
dominance, right? So
Yeah.
Heaven's Word.
Yeah.
I'm getting the writer right now. On my
Well,
day right now.
while you're getting that, I just want to say, like, I agree with you
Tatsutoya.
guys. Yeah, I was gonna say, I agree with you guys. The ending of 16 could have been a better emotional payoff. You know, they could have kept things less ambiguous. But at the same time, with what they've given me up to that point, and with Heaven's Word and 14 and all that stuff, is like, yes, well, it could have been better. I respect their decision on how they wanted it to end, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So, and
That's
I
not,
agree, and I agree
yeah,
with you. I agree with that. So I know that it was a decision. I don't think that Zero thinks that they didn't write this and didn't make this decision. We just don't agree or like it, and that's our subjective opinion, of course. But I just want to
yeah,
go ahead and name drop the writer because, and I want to talk about his his uh his decree here. Kazutoya Maehiro, I believe Kazutoyo Maehiro. Okay, he been here since 1997. Everybody, as an event planner. He started off as an event planner from then, and then he wrote his first scenario writing in Realm Reborn. So he actually was the Realm Reborn writer. Then he was the Heavensward writer. Okay, so he learned all that
yeah,
from Realm Reborn, and then did Heavensward. That was the last thing he did for writing until now. Okay, not only was he's the Final Fantasy 16 creative director and original screenplay writer for 16. So these right here, this
yeah,
is all the stuff that he did, and I could talk about the battle system designer he did, event planner, and all the stuff he did all throughout the years in between. But he's not only been here with these people with Square Enix for a long time, making Final Fantasy bangers. He literally came through here and wrote a good story and ending. I just find that we just needed a little bit more seasoning. I think that one of the things that Zero always says when we talk privately or when we speak out is essentially like we like this ending. It's well, we don't like it, but it's sound. You know, there's no holes here. There's no this is bad writing. This is horrible. It's just, bro, you just underseasoned the chicken a little bit. It's still fucking good. It's still cooked well.
It's
It's
not
still seared
done.
right. But
It's
it's
not
well,
done.
it's
It just
done.
needs to finish.
I'm not getting salmonella. But
Finish
you
what you
know,
start.
I think that it just needed a
Finish
little
what you
more
start.
seasoning.
There's a little bit of the white pasty, little bloody parts left. Just finish frying the sucker, and it'll be good. You're right there. Just finish it. Finish it. That's it. That's all you need to do is just finish it, just a little more, and you got it. But they just left it up in the air, then moved on to a scene with two kids we don't know, a lady we don't know, and a book with a guy's name on it. That's
Well,
not
not a guy's name.
done. This is not finished.
With
A guy's name. A guy's name.
no, our main one of our main
Joshua's name.
characters. Yes, thank you. Not a
Rossfield.
guy's name.
Yes. Clive.
Okay.
Joshua Rossfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let's be very clear here because the truth of the matter is that they definitely did that. But now because Clive took on a name already, everybody that's another part. Now you're like, did Clive take on his brother's name and write the book? No one knows. And it's too many no one knows. Like it's okay. I think there's like an ambiguity counter, and I think like the counter is too high. Like with so many other things, like Final Fantasy VII's ambiguous ending is like, did everybody survive? That's the ending. That's the ambiguousness. That's it. That's the end of it. That's just all the whole thing that's ambiguous about the ending. Other than that, everything is pretty sound about what happened. But this game has so many parts that are ambiguous. Yo, we haven't even talked about the best gay character in video games yet. We haven't even talked about our boy, okay? Dion, the king boy, okay? Yo, Dion was out here flexing on the homies, okay? Having a good heart, being a good guy, getting shit on by the same mother that Clive has, who's also trash to Clive and
oh, she is
Joshua in
a
a way.
bitch. She is a bitch.
Trash. Okay? Yo, and she told him, yo, you trash. You just a lowborn of unfilthy ass blood slutborn. What?
And she went
Trash.
and she went out like a bitch. I
Yeah,
wanted
she
Clive to
did.
kill her so badly.
Nah, Clive was too much of a good boy for that. He would never do it. Clive's too
Yeah,
good.
I
I
know
never
he's too
would have
much of
done
a
it.
kid, but
Such a
I would have
good.
done it. Fucking freaking evil. That lady was just evil.
Yeah, she is
Horrible.
truly a fascist of the highest order. No question about it.
And the king
One
was
hundred
just
percent.
the
And
king was
that's
just pussy whipped. That's what happened to him. When they this is like when you heard you ain't got you maidenless and everybody says you ain't got no bitches. Essentially, when Dion found out that his father wasn't being manipulated, it was like to me it was like hilarious because it's like, oh, you just pussy whipped for real? Oh no! That was worse than being controlled by Ultima. Damn, bro. You stepped in front of your son just cuz? Yikes! Oh man. That was crazy. Just all right. So I think that we said a lot. Um
I still love that scene. I still love that scene where like she's like, Joshua died at that, and meanwhile Phoenix is outside battling in
you not
full
look out
view
the
of the
window.
gigantic hole in the
yeah.
wall, and I just screamed, "Bitch, look out the window!" That's what I said. It's like
Super
he's like he's
No,
hilarious.
right
that's what he said.
there.
Have you not looked out the window? The Phoenix is fighting Bahamut. And just again, it to me, it would have been great for her to like hit that moment of clarity where she's like, "Oh man, I messed up.
Nah, she would have
I'm
been a
just gonna end
bitch because
myself."
she
Instead,
she
she was in
realized she
No,
would have.
she went out in denial. But she
Yeah.
that just solidifies her character as the fascist asshole that she was. Is that she caused all the that's what fascists will do. They'll cause all this pain and then they'll never admit they're wrong. They'll never
Yes,
admit
it's
that they
just
messed up. So that's appropriate. Is it
yeah.
satisfying? No, but this is exactly what would happen. I like
oh,
this
she's
is what
like,
would happen.
yeah, she's like textbook spoiled princess, like brought up all her life being like, all right, you are responsible for making sure our bloodline remains strong, and that's the reason she gave
I
for
gave birth to you. I've
betraying
done my part.
everybody.
She was
That's the
so
reason she
mad.
gave for
She
betraying
was
everybody. She's
and when
like,
she
yo,
and I know this is like
she's like,
sidetracking, but she was so trash. Like, yo, like son, she's like, you were supposed to be the chosen one. You were the one that was supposed to defeat them, not join them. You weren't supposed to be like the other bearers. No, Clive. I
She didn't
hated your brother.
slave.
I actually loved you, and you didn't get me what I
She
wanted.
didn't.
no. She didn't. No, that's not what she was saying. She was
No, I'm
saying
essentially saying that's what she
she
was saying.
wanted Clive. She wanted Clive to be the dominant, the Phoenix dominant
Yeah.
because Joshua was her little baby boy.
No.
She was her he was her little baby boy. She didn't want him
No.
going around and doing dominant shit.
You got it wrong. The reason why she felt that way is because he was weak and he was feeble and he was sickly. But Joshua was powerful. He had everything. He had the power. His body was right for the dominant role. He would have been the thing that he needed. She even said it like, you were supposed to look at everything you were supposed to be. And he just couldn't be the Phoenix. And that pissed her off because then she gave birth to a weak Phoenix. Because, let's be real, my son is coughing up blood a lot. Like, a lot. Like, during the game, his body cannot really handle his powers in comparison to his brother. And she knew that Clive could handle the powers. His body could handle it. And so she felt like everything, she loved him. That was out of, a necessity, kind of. But the truth is that she just felt like Joshua was a weaker thing. And this was her true feelings that she said. She said it. Yo, man, you were supposed to be it. It wasn't supposed to be him because he is not as good as you. And that right there was so fucking sad because you hear that from your mom, like that. So you treated me like shit. You treated me like garbage because you were mad because I didn't become the thing that you wanted me to be.
Oh no, actually, you're right. You're right.
It's
Now I'm
crazy.
remembering it. I'm
Like
remembering it now. Yep.
that right there,
Yep.
yo,
Yep.
I was like, damn, son. And Ultima wanted to do all this because we could talk about his motivations, but his life was shit on purpose. Like Ultima did all this on purpose so that he would become a psycho. But he was just too much of a good boy. He was able to look on the
Mm-hmm.
bright side about everything. He met the right people to keep him on the right path. And he was like, God damn it, man. Why? Why won't you just fucking break? And he wouldn't, you know? And Ultimo was a smug asshole. Just thought he just had a super god complex. I knew he was a god, but he had super god complex. He had no humbleness at all, but he was also a pussy. And the ending, the things I appreciated, because we talked a lot of bad, I'll say some good things about the ending. The Rosaria circle around where he really put his sword down and became that shit made me come in my pants. Then on top of that, you had Ultima getting like told like how my man, let's just say it right up. Naruto, step aside. Clive got the new talk no jitsu, bro. He'll make you feel like shit while you fighting him, and he'd be like, damn, son, you kinda right. Yes. Yo, he had a god going, damn, son, he typed right I was trash. Then, not to mention, at the end of the game when he beat him, because they did the whole fisticuff shit. Yo, my boy said, after you lose, and we all played fighting games, you all play games with people who ain't shit, right? And you beat them up. What they say? Man, you still ain't shit, bro. And then they die, right? They lose, they leave. Yo, he said he did that. He unplugged the internet as he lost. That's what he did. He unplugged the internet. He said, ah man, I lost. And unplugged the internet, so he didn't have to feel it. And it's like, yo, Ultima, you a bitch, bro, forever. And Clive exposed him in the end, and that was such a good culmination of all the events in the
He
game because
just
he
didn't
thought he
want
was
to
the perfect.
die. He just didn't want
He
to
didn't want to be
die.
the god that he was supposed to
Ultimately,
be.
what it came down to, he just didn't want to die, and he knew he was going to die. So he tried to avoid it by sacrificing all of humanity after growing all of humanity in order to create enough magic to get or do the thing again. I don't know. I don't even know what
The
he
truth
thought he was
is,
going to do about the
The truth
problem.
is, he reminds me of Fritz from Attack on Titan. I'm not going to spoil Attack on Titan, but just know that the king from Attack on Titan essentially did what he did. Okay? He had the power essentially to become like the next like thing that literally controls the Titans, and he was so pussy because he saw his brother like change that he didn't want to die. So he essentially was like, "Yo, let me make my bum ass daughter that I fucked outside of wedlock be the thing that turns into it." You know what I mean? And that whole plan got fucked
Yeah.
up, and he
It's
was terrified.
the fear of death.
Yep,
That's what it was about.
good motivation. Good motivation, man. Well, man, I think that we tied this shit up. I got only one more question in my notes, and I only did three, because I think the open conversation style is just so much better. So the last thing I say to everybody is what we want from Square going forward, like for the next Final Fantasy. What do we want them to improve upon narratively for endings? And also, like, I mean, we're not going to get into all the game stuff. I mean, everybody's going to do their own review about this game and or talk about it. We talk a lot about the mechanics that could be better for the next game. But I think that this was a banger, of course, that gets going to get a lot of new people in, right? But what do we want them to do narratively now? We obviously don't want endings like this again unless it's done a little bit better. But do we think that there was more improvement here for the narrative ending that could be done? And I'll start with you, Echo. Go ahead.
Um. Yeah. I really just for the sending to be better, that to make it better. Yeah. Just yeah. I kind of I agree with you guys. Just make it a little less ambiguous. But
A
I
few
mean,
things, let's say,
if you think it's good,
just
if you
a
think it's
few things.
good too, Echo,
A few things, yeah.
and just to be real,
Few
if you think
things.
it's
I mean,
good, like talk about how good it is. I mean, do you think they should continue it? I mean, that's also another thing. If you really feel like this is good in your own opinion and you like how it is, I mean, shit. By all means, you don't have to take our opinions about it. You can go ahead and just say like, "Yo, I thought it was fucking great." You know, if you think that, I'm just being clear. Like, don't let us paint you up. I know we have heavy
No, no, I
feelings and
mean, like,
heavy.
yeah, I think the way it was is fine, but yeah, it could have been better. I don't know. I don't know what the it. Oh, honestly, it all depends on who they get to write the next Final Fantasy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The next mainline one, because I don't know. It looks like the only writers they got right now are Nomura and the 14 team. Because I don't know who else is there. I don't know. Who wrote 13?
oof, don't put him.
I don't know. I don't.
I'll
Yeah,
look
I
it
don't
up.
think we don't want to see anything from them again.
No, I did. I think 13
So
too
was
was
that in
hot.
the war?
13 too was
Was
hot.
that in
I
the
would
war?
say
I got it. I'm
I
looking it
would
up right now. I'm
say
looking it up right now.
I would say if someone was to write a mainline Final Fantasy title, like the next one, that actually like deserves to like write their own like game, it's got to be Gigakawa. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
I
so
mean,
Kazushige Nojima was the writer for Final Fantasy 13. If I'm doing this right, I just want to make sure, just to finalize it. Okay, hold on. Almost there. Oh wow, he was on Advent Children too. Wow. I mean,
yeah, because it's like is the we don't even know, is the writer from 10 still around? Because the like ever since 10, what do we have? We had 11 was an MMO. Oh, I forgot about 12. But I've heard mixed things about 12.
yeah, we're not gonna talk about 12. 12 was okay. It was alright. It was okay.
Yeah, I think it was okay. What narratively and gameplay wise? Because I know the whole. I've heard the horror stories about all the gameplay elements from it. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I don't know, either
Hold on, I'm trying to get it.
because
Give me
that's the
one
thing.
second.
It's like yeah the whole game narratively sets a high bar. Yeah, yes they could have the ending. Yes, it could have been better, but still like can't discount the rest of the game. And yeah, I know you don't want to talk about gameplay elements, but really that's the only other minor issue I have with it was the actual gameplay aspect or the game loop of it. But
Yeah,
I mean, if
Um,
they, I would say this sets a new level, right? But yeah, the ending could be better. That's really my take. My take it kind of comes down to it.
there's to me,
I
there's not much that's missing here. It's just that what's missing is so significant that it destroys this ending. It just
yeah.
needs to finish that feeling right after the magic leaves. It needs to, listen. If they had showed these two guys falling into the water, if they had shown these guys looking for Clive and Joshua, if they had just shown anything that leads you to a practical culmination of this emotional payoff,
Or like
yes,
I
that's it. Like that's what it needs.
like
It just needs to add a little bit that's missing, and then you could leave the ambiguous ending
what
later for the book. Fine, I like
what
that.
if
That
they
was
like all right, I
okay, I got the
propose
answer.
this.
I got the answer to who
Yeah.
wrote it. It's
Yeah,
Daisuke
I'm just
Watanabe.
gonna yeah.
The scenario concept was done by Kazushige Nojima, but lead scenario
Right.
writer is Daisuke Watanabe, and Daisuke Watanabe is the
Okay.
one who wrote 13. Um, you
So
know,
then they've moved on because they're not on the teams anymore. They've moved on to some other stuff. Then
yeah, he was the
They
I
writer.
have
don't
to. I
recognize that
mean,
name.
He was the writer for
yeah.
12. He was the writer for 12. Okay, he was the writer for yo, this is making me
Oof.
He
upset,
did.
bro.
He did
Yo,
12 and 13.
this is hurting my soul, bro. Okay, he lead scenario
Oh
Oof.
writer
no.
for 13. He did lead scenario, so he was scenario supervisor for Dissidia, which oof. 12, 13 2, he was the writer for. So he knows how to write because he wrote 13-2. He did Lightning Returns and he did Mobius Final Fantasy. And he did Final Fantasy 12 The Zodiac Age, which means I'm guessing that that was him saying, he was just there. I'm guessing doing, cleanup. I don't know if he's a scenario advisor there. He wasn't a writer for that game, but he was the advisor. So he wasn't a writer for 12, of course, but it says scenario with Miwa Shota. That means I'm guessing that him and Shota probably wrote it together. This is all stuff I'm getting off the wiki. If anybody wants to correct me in the comments, go ahead. I don't give a shit. I'm just literally looking up the stuff for quick reference here. But we do know for certain that he wrote 13 and all of his friends, and he never wrote another fucking thing after that. So, yeah.
It wasn't exactly on the highest of points at 13-3 landed the series. Okay, it was weird. It was weird in a not cool way. It was weird in a very convoluted way that these characters are all like. I still to this day don't understand any of 13, and I've seen the video countless times now, and I just cannot wrap my head around what the hell they were trying
I
to do
mean,
with that
I
for
get
that
it.
series.
It just was like I thought it was more of a gameplay issue, but they did the same thing like we talked about when we criticized The Walking Dead. They kept taking mad time on each individual character, and really, I just wanted them all to be together to deal with what they were dealing with. And like, it just didn't help that the gameplay didn't like help that. You know what I mean? Like the gameplay didn't like, help with you exploring Cocoon and going back and forth and doing cool shit. Like it's just they Square Enix has learned a lot since 10, well sorry, since 12 and 13. They've learned a lot and you can tell after
Yeah.
15, hey, this is what we should be doing here. And that's good.
Yeah. I've I like to watch people as they play through 14, and many of them are longtime FF fans, and I've heard time and time again people come out and sing 14's praises, like, yo, Final Fantasy's narratively hasn't been this
14.
good in a long time.
Oh, to make this clear, 14 pre Meteor or post Meteor?
We don't talk
Oh no,
about it's
we
all
don't talk
relevable
about
right now.
1.0. We don't talk about 1.0.
Okay, okay. Just post is after Jesus. Yes, just like AD, post Meteor, not pre Meteor, post Meteor. Okay, just go on,
Now
continue.
I want to be clear that the person I talked about earlier, Kazutoyo Hero, he did he did Heaven's Word originally, and then I guess that your girl, as we know, Ishikawa out here, Natsuko Ishikawa out here was helping him with that. For the later one, I'm guessing Dragon Song. She did Stormblood as well, and of course the fucking goat Final Fantasy 15, I mean 14 fucking Shadowbringers and Endwalker, boy. This lady's stories fucking slap. Okay? And for her not to have been put
Yep.
on this project is wild as fuck. The next one, she better be writing it because she ain't playing around, bro. She ain't playing around. Now, so listen. Everybody
I
works
mean,
hard. Writers work hard. They do what they gotta do. My
yeah,
hero, I mean Mayhiro, he definitely fucking came out here and he did a pretty good job on this game. This is pretty sound writing, you know what I mean? But I know that the real seasoning for Heaven's Word popped off when Natsuko came in here. Mrs. Ishikawa came in here and started fucking the shit up, bro. She's good. She's real good. Both of them are great. So I just want to give credit to those writers because they, we talk about Square Enix, we talk about these big corpos, but we got to remember that the writers are the ones that make us really love Final Fantasy, you know. So I just wanted to say that, and I guess, damn man, I guess we fucking we did it. I think that's it. I don't got nothing else unless anybody has
Dead.
anything else to add, right?
Bring the shuttle. Bring me the shovel, man. Burying the freaking ending. Dead to me. It's over. No more thinking about it. And I'm sure the DLC will do nothing about the ending. Let's just get that out there right now. They're not going to bring Ben Stark back on to fucking mocap new stuff. They're not going to
I,
do any of
I,
that. They're not going to touch any of that.
I,
They're just going to add
I,
side quests. That's what I think they're going to do. They're going to add side quests.
I mean, they could do a movie, but that's about it.
nah, I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they've learned their lessons about the transmedia stuff. Like people
Oh,
bitch
for
so much about
it was
bitch so
rightfully
much
so.
about
It was bad. Yo, Echo.
they
I don't.
yeah
It was
from
real
no for
fucking
like
bad.
no for 15 yeah, like if you didn't watch the movie or watch the short series, right, you were missing things.
I watched the movie when it came out, Kingsglaive. I
Yo,
was the first one out of
me,
us that
me,
saw
and
it.
my boy Devil.
And
When that movie came out, I went and streamed that shit day one, right? And we watched the whole movie. And yo, listen, you talking to a guy, and I said this in my review, that bought the deluxe edition. I have the one with everybody's signature on it
It,
from Japan. Okay, I have the one with
it,
the original like artwork box set. Okay, yo, I was so hyped for that game. Yo, it took me and threw me on my neck, bro, and cracked it open. That's how
well,
bad. Oh,
here's the funny thing, right? Here's the funny thing, right? The 14 devs, Yoshida's like, when he saved the game, right? He looked at World of Warcraft, right? So at one point he must have saw, they have the transmedia shit, like a lot of important like dialogue, especially like what characters are thinking, are written in books. So unless you go out and buy the books, like if you're trying to follow the lore of the game, you have to get the books and for WoW, right? So they already knew that was a bad idea. Like they came out with the lore books, the compendium, or I think they're called the compendiums. I can't remember. Um, but they like expand upon the lore, but like everything's in the game, right? So Yoshida recognized that in 14, and then Nomura's comes along. It's like, no, we're gonna make a movie. We're gonna do.
let's say it like
It's like,
Nomura would
seriously?
say it. Like when you see him in the interviews. Yo, so listen, we made a movie and shit, you know. Now listen, I'm translating how he be talking in Japanese to English as an edge lord. Okay, yo, I be doing these shit. I think it's just better this way. I made these movies. I thought people would like that. You know what I mean? And I couldn't do the project.
Oh, sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. It's the they're called the encyclopedias of Eorzea. That's what it is. It's basically encyclopedia, giving you a little bit more information about stuff.
yeah. Well, I hope
It's
that
a
they do this in like the pop up information thing for now on in every game. That was one of the cooler
oh,
things
that
about the
was
quality.
great.
The
That
quality
was
assurance in
great.
this game was so awesome. Like, not even talk about Vivian and how awesome she was as like a character for everything. There's so many good
right,
things that I highlighted in my review
and,
about
and
this.
and now that you mention that, that just speaks to the point as to why the ambiguity towards the end doesn't match what the game's putting out for like 99% of its runtime. That right
That's
there,
true.
what you just mentioned, the lore and the way it's very specific and it's very detailed, and there's so much information about events, people, things, how very rich it is. to have a flavorless ending like this is what
Yeah,
makes this ending egregious. It doesn't match what came before it. It isn't on the same level thematically and in the same level giving you the same thing it would giving you prior for them jumping on Bahamut's back. It just stops at that point. It stops. It changes into something else, and that's where it is a failed experiment on their part. It
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't
Yeah.
finish, and it needs to finish with the amount of detail and clarity and the same feel that the game has leading up to it, just like any other game with a good ending does. It lets you maintain continuity emotionally and practically towards its conclusion. And it fails to do so here, and that's why this ending is cheeks, ass,
All right.
clownish.
I guess closing. I guess that's a good closing thought. My closing thought is Final Fantasy 16's ending was fucking. It was sad. It was beyond sad. I mean, that was what you wanted to do, was take me and crack my fucking skull open after making me work on this character for 60 hours to 100 hours and make me remember what it was like to feel
I,
bad about Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus, you did it. You did a good
I,
job. I mean, you did a good job
I,
here.
I think it's insulting to call this ending sad when there's Yuna and Titus. It's insulting. Yuna and Titus. That's sad. Okay, that is sad. What we saw here is incomplete. Send it back, finish it, bring it to me, and I'll grade it. It's incomplete. You're not done. This is an incomplete essay. Finish this essay. Where is the rest of this? That's it. It's not saying that it wasn't on its way to being good because it was really on its way to being good and then it just stopped. And you know, the moment you know that it's incomplete is the moment you see Clive on the beach turning the stone. And then you go, what? Where's Joshua? Where's Jill? Where's the rest of them? And then it shifts over to the scene with the mom and the kids seamlessly, as if they go together so well. They do not. Let's just get that out there. They do not go together well. But
You
it
don't.
just shifts over to that, and then it pans over to the kids, pans over to the book, roll credits. No, it is not finished. This is not finished work. Go back, finish it, and then we can say, okay, I like this ending. That's cool. That's fine. It's whatever. It's mid. It's mid. It's gonna be mid forever. It's impossible to make it better than mid because you're not gonna be able to fit what you need in here because you already wrote it and it's done. It's over. You'd have to rewrite this whole ending like it's Mass Effect. No, it's mid. That's it. And that's the feeling everyone got. Mid is like the theme of this entire game. Everyone thinks it's mid for a variety of reasons. Mid, mid, mid. That's it. There you go. End of podcast. Roll credits.
my
We're
man,
done.
my man,
he's dropping the mic. He's done.
my man Zero. I'm a finish. Essentially, for me, I felt like the ending was very powerful, but that close up, the tie up, the laces, as so to speak, the salt and the pepper, it was fucking underseasoned. It tastes like fucking, a lady who don't know how to make potato salad. You go to their potatoes, their fucking barbecue. The shit tastes like
It's
shit.
it's it's the
It was
it's the
like, yo, everything else
lady
was
who
good, but
threw
that.
the, ing- the lady who threw the ingredients to a potato salad in a bowl and then bought mixing them. You didn't finish what you started. Just finish mixing this and it'll be salad. But if it's just three ingredients in a bowl, just because it's in the same bowl doesn't make it a salad.
And this is
What makes
just
it a
for the
salad
ending
is
for
when
the
you
writer. I want you to
mix
know. I want you to know that I think
just
that
the ending. Everything else is great.
yeah, everything else was great. It was just that, like, literally,
Uh,
like Texas de Brazil or whatever, like wherever you are, it tastes like the most delicious
it,
shit you had, and then like at the end they're like, "Yo, here's dessert," and it was literally like paper, you know, like it was like, "God damn, bro, what the fuck is this?" Like even the hype moment
it,
after Clive. Okay, but that is my ending. That's my ending shit. I'm gonna go ahead and give it right over to Echo to have him say it. Go ahead.
I I'm just gonna say, all right. I'm just gonna say, from my from my experience with this writing team, right? From where the main writer came from Business Unit 3, and playing 14. All right. If you don't see a body, they're not dead. Okay. So my head canon is Clive's fine, Joshua's fine. They go off, have happy lives. They probably get an ear. They probably get a nice earful from everybody that thought they were dead. Right,
But the
but
fact that you have to imagine that is ridiculous, and that's what makes this ending
no,
so
no,
bad.
In a
no,
game,
I see your points. I
in a
see your
game where
points.
in a game where Benedicta has hips that are so detailed, they suddenly decide, let's be super ambiguous about the rest of everything that's
Yo,
happening here.
Benedicta ass. Yo,
That's
I don't even like little girls like that. Like like the small girls and shit. You know what I mean? Like with not big booties and shit. Like I don't like girls that are like not you know big booty ass girls. But Benedicta out here, son, she had it, boy. I was like, God damn, girl. And I know that was by design, and that's why my man Kupka went crazy. I get it. But shit, man,
you
they
went
were looking
crazy
for
for that
sex.
booty, man.
They went with that sex appeal, and it was like, fuck, bro. They did a good job
I,
here.
I,
And
I
I'm not
want my
getting
babies
clipped.
to come out
I'm
of them
not
hips.
getting clipped. I'm not, yo,
Uh,
don't clip me on that because I said, small women. Okay, that's what I mean, small women. All right. So if you try to clip me, here's me saying I mean smaller women. I'm not into smaller women like that. But damn, son, that ass was fat. That's what I meant. Okay. So if you try to come at me, here's my explanation. All right, there you go. Shit.
Cancel, cancel, instantly
Cancel.
cancel.
Ah, you can't cancel the
Podcast is
Flame
finished.
King.
Podcast is over now. That's
It's
it.
over. It's
Episode
over.
1 is all it lasted.
Yo, the internet will spread it. Yo, remember we said this? Yo, fucking trash.
It's out there now, man. It's never gonna die.
Shit, I still got the power of editing. I could kill it. I could kill it.
Not too late.
Too late. It's alright. I already clipped, already circulating.
Ah, shit, it's over. Ah. But nah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this is pretty good. This was good. We're gonna be doing some more of this. All right, yo, listen, everybody here, thank you for your time. Of course, I know it's Thursday night. It's 10 o'clock where we are, and you know, I really appreciate everybody coming out to talk about this ending. For me, it took me a long time to like process this, and I didn't know how to feel for a long time. Me and Echo and and Zero, we all know each other in real life. So like we were like really sitting here like, yo, what the fuck happened here?
No, that like no. When the game ended and the credits rolled, right? I just sat there staring at the screen for a long time, and then the first word out of my mouth was like, "Nah, nah." He lives. Can't do that to me.
It was so bad, like, but for me, I was mad because I'm like, what the fuck is this? I went and called Zero, like, they just killed the guy in the last game. They did it again, and it's like, yo, yeah. And mind you, the way Noctis went down is fucked up. And if you need to see it, go watch it. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, like how it happened. But just know that Noctis really had it real rough, dude. He was like what 18? He just turned 18. Then he had to have a time skip to kill himself in a fight. Obviously, like that's terrible, man. I don't know. But
Yo,
in this
what?
game with Clive, like he did the right thing. He was literally Jesus Christ. And like, if you're a Christian or you have any kind of knowledge of Christianity, it's like, dude, you literally like made Jesus Christ die for my sins. And you're like, yeah, don't you Americans like this? And it's like, no. We don't even like the mythos of that, dude. That's so sad and fucked up.
I can see how they can think
Yeah,
that we're super obsessed with Jesus Christ, though. I mean, I see where they get it from. We
Yeah.
talk about Jesus Christ a
yeah.
lot. So they must think, yeah, we want to see guys on crosses and throwing their whole lives away to save the world. Yeah, I see it. I mean, you got it wrong. I see it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I could see how the ending could be. It's like the battle of two gods,
Oh,
essentially.
definitely. I mean, the funniest thing about this was that a god was always gonna have to be born because that's what they were waiting for. And when they did, when he became, what, Lavos, it was just kind of like, oh no, a god crafted from the humans. That, I mean, how could you not? I just want to talk. I know I'm supposed to be saying bye and shit, but I just want to laugh at Ultima real quick, okay? Give me 10 minutes to laugh at Ultima. I couldn't do this in my fucking review.
We can go
Ultima,
as long as we need to,
Ultima,
man.
Ultima, you a dumb motherfucker, okay? You literally said, "Yo, bro, hold my beer, son. I'm not gonna do shit while these people are alive. I'm gonna treat them like I don't even care about them. Like you literally bred like roaches so that you get like the strongest roach, right? Essentially, that's how from his perspective, okay? Because that's how he treated humanity. That's why I'm saying that, right? So he's sitting there
Yeah.
he's being a piece of shit, right? And he's looking for somebody who has a body just as strong as his, right? To withstand the spell that needs to be used, right? And the thing is, he made a literal, and listen, the character designers, the writers, you guys need a lot of credit because Clive is a fuck. And I'm not gay. My man
Well,
is a snack, bro. The dude is fucking brolic as fuck. He is peak human. Yo, my man is like, damn, son, I want to look like that. Bro, I want to be like that, bro. Look at this guy. Damn, son. Yo, and that's on purpose because
well,
he was supposed to be the perfect vessel, the perfect
well,
body.
well. The irony too about the whole thing, right, is like at the end there, it's like, oh, the Clive realizes like even after all this, him as a vessel cannot properly contain and control contain the power from Ultima.
And
So
that
even
was
if
designed. That was by design.
even if Ultima succeeded, right, they would still fail
Because that
because
was no. It would
he
succeed
was
for
still.
Ultima. Because his point was not to die. He didn't give a shit what happened to the human race. That was why he did it. Because he's like, dude, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, yo, bro. What if I make these fucking creatures, bro, just to kill themselves for me, bro? Yeah, man. Yo, they'll go ahead and we can live on this planet forever, bro. Yo, bravo. Yo, what a good idea. Yeah. Literally, Ultima, and even though they're supposed to be his brothers or whatever, this literally the Obama giving himself a medal meme. This is the same shit. This is the exact same shit. Ultima was out here like praising and dick sucking himself so bad that he thought he didn't realize that maybe me sleeping and not guiding this process through might create a being that maybe my vessel might actually have sentience to a degree where he might be able to, like, I don't know, shrug off hard times in a world that's already harsh because you slept so long that motherfuckers were killing and pillaging each other for so long that you might breed some pretty cool motherfuckers by this point. And let's shout out to my boy Clive's dad, who's just the basis for all of this. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Clive's dad being so cool, he would have been a Sasuke ass bitch ass dude. You know. And you
I
know
mean,
what's
he did
funny?
marry.
I want to also say, all gamers, all Final Fantasy gamers who always predict that the main character is gonna be Sasuke Baka, guess what? They never turn out to be Sasuke Baka, bro. The last two times, everybody's supposed to be Sasuke Baka. Guess what? Guess what? They ain't Sasuke Baka, bro. They more like Naruto and Goku type people. Okay? They out here being good, being
I
literally
mean,
Jesus Christ.
to be fair, oh, why am I forgetting his name now? Noctis. Noctis did have the hair for it.
He did. That was yo, that right there. Let me tell you something. That was bait, bro. Noctis was, you know what Noctis did in that game? He fished and hung out with the bros. Sorry. And at one point he was like, I don't want to do this anymore, like being a baby, but he was 18. His girl just died. What do you mean? Rest in peace to
we
the
we've
guy who
gone into
died
the
off screen. Rest in peace also to Noctis's dad and the guy who died off screen that we met in one scene. Okay, the guy that died off screen, and his nephew or his son rolled up and said, "My dad died off screen." That shit was trash. Don't ever do that again. That shit was
Yeah, and
trash.
if you didn't watch the Kingsglaive movie, you wouldn't get to see the king die.
Yeah, yo, listen. If you didn't see that Kingsglaive movie, yo, or any of the
I
animes,
mean,
Yeah.
and that's not yo. I didn't even
I
talk
mean,
about the most egregious part of the game, right? How they literally
Yeah.
lopped off all like content they were supposed to have there, that's normally in the Final Fantasy game for all the side characters, into DLC. Yikes!
Which they
And
didn't.
one more thing,
They didn't.
since we relived it,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. The main villains of the game, they died off screen. Ah! I'm done. I'm done. I'm all done.
Yeah, I didn't even finish 15. I
Yo,
might go back and finish it eventually,
yeah, I
but
heard that
it's
Royal
fine.
was good, but the gameplay for 15 was so good that it was such a shame to watch the story just be trash. And the director who inherited the mess did his best to tie up what Nomura left him. And I feel
Yeah.
bad for him. But bro, like I said, I'll say it again. The main villains of the game, they die off screen. They lose and die off screen. You don't even get to do that. You meet characters in the villain force that you meet once. They're supposed to be recurring villains later, and they never show back up. This shit was worse than 13. At least 13, like, I don't know, followed through with everything. It was really sad. Like, you can say what you want about 13 vanilla, but at least the story had a conclusion that made sense. The and the ending of 13 is better, in my opinion, is better than 16's ending. That's embarrassing. That's not good,
it does what it's supposed to do, so it's a better ending. I
bro. The
mean,
the ending
it's
of
just
13 is so good that the rest of the game doesn't deserve it. It's like the reverse of this. I'm done. I'm fucking. I'm done. I'm shitting on people now. Oh God, God, it's
now
your
I
boy
gotta cut this
Flame.
whole part.
Nah, fuck that. I'll keep it up. Fuck that shit. It's the truth. Yo, fight me in the comments. Fight me in the comments. I'll fight you. Nah, but for real, yo, guys. Whoa, music. Okay,
Well,
My bad.
careful with that.
no problem. I can cut that. We stopped talking. Okay, that was at the
All
perfect
right.
point where that happened. That was great. So listen, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go around the room. Okay, everybody. I'm gonna start
Okay.
off. Um, I'm the Flame King. For the most part, I've been doing nothing but like bullshit ass like impression game videos and stuff, and just kind of giving my points and stuff. I'm not a big channel. Right now I got nobody, but listen, I will be a somebody, and you can follow me on Flame King on X/Twitter. I'm just gonna say Twitter because fuck X. Um, and also you can follow me on Threads at Flame King and Instagram on Flame King. Um, I've been out here for a minute. I am also an artist. I am an artist, and I have a comic book called Elemental Rush. Probably saw it in some of the material here. Go check that out. Shit is on Webtoons. Okay. And yeah, I'm not like I said. I'm starting humble. I just want to make some friends. I just want to be chill. Just want to make a cool channel where I talk about video games and kind of laugh. And kind of say my thoughts. And this is the first time I've done this, but I've always wanted to. And yeah, I'm gonna go around the room now. We're gonna start. Well, we know that Echo. I don't know if he's gonna be doing this as a thing in the future, but you heard him earlier. I'm gonna let him talk for himself, and then Zero, you end it out.
Yeah, this has been Echo. I have no socials because I don't want any of that toxic shit in my life. Uh, but yes, this has been fun. I would love to come on again.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah,
Thank you so much, brother. All right, Zero.
yeah.
Um, Nobody's a gaming. Represent. I represent Nobody's gaming. I don't have any socials. I don't have any talents. I'm a
Right.
hack, and I don't have anything to offer that's substantial content at the moment. But we will, and that's really all we have to say about that. We're nobodies. We don't exist. We're not real. Words aren't real.
I mean, nobody's aren't real. They're not even real people, Roxas. Okay, get out of here. Jesus. But no, look out for my boy. Nobody's a game, and he dead ass is gonna be making his reviews soon. He's got a Persona 3 review coming out. Really go check out his channel. He doesn't have any socials yet because he hasn't done that yet. I've gotten on him about it, but he does need to do that. You know, and yeah, I have socials, but nobody cares. So I guess we're all in the same book, so it doesn't matter. All right, yo, this has been fun, guys. I'm gonna stop recording in a second, and yeah, we can free call talk if you want. Okay, so one, two, three. Have a good night, guys, and thank you. This has been the Flame King, and I really, really appreciate everybody for watching this video. Like and subscribe.